Hello, my name is Michelle Rathgaber, and I am the archaeological assistant at the Parkin station of the Arkansas Archaeological Survey. And I've been in this position since 2019, but I've actually been with the survey in a couple of different capacities since 2011. So I have a Bachelor's of Science degree from the University of Wisconsin in Madison. And that's because originally I intended to be a medical doctor. I was going there for pre-med courses, but I took a couple of anthropology classes and I was really intrigued and I really loved it. And then I ended up going after my junior year to Tiwanaku, Bolivia to do a field school. And we got to excavate just outside the ceremonial center of Tiwanaku, in a little housing area. And so we walked by the Akapana pyramid every morning and every afternoon. And it was just so exciting to see how you could go from looking at artifacts in the ground and taking them out of the ground and mapping them, and then go on to talk about how people were living in the past, and doing that from just partial things in the ground rather than written records or that kind of thing. So I thought that was something that I really wanted to try to pursue. So I finished college with my Bachelor of Science in anthropology and zoology. And then I worked in cultural resource management for a little while. I traveled kind of all across the country, but mostly in the Midwest and Southeast region, working on pipeline projects. And then I decided I should go back and get my master's degree. And I wanted to do that in zooarchaeology, so looking at animal bones and how those are used in the past. And I found a program at Bournemouth University in the UK that I thought sounded really neat. And actually, I ended up going for osteoarchaeology. So I looked at human remains as well as animal remains. But my main focus was animal remains and how people in Southwest Britain were using animal bones as tools. So fun fact, I actually have written 2 dissertations, because in the UK, you write a dissertation as part of your master's work. And then in the US, you write a dissertation as part of your PhD work. And so in 2015, I started my PhD at the University of Arkansas in Fayetteville. And there I wrote my dissertation, took a lot of classes, really interesting stuff. My dissertation was on how Mississippian people in Northeast Arkansas reacted to the large-scale New Madrid seismic zone earthquakes that happened in the Northeast Arkansas region, and that kind of all those states right there in the Midwest. It's the most seismically active region in the central and southern US, which I didn't know until I moved to Blytheville, Arkansas in 2011 to take a job with the Archaeological Survey, again as the archaeological assistant at the station there. And so that's where I started my PhD research, really before I was a student. I started excavating at a site called Manley Earthstry that was covered by a sand blow from an earthquake. And so it was a little town, few houses, and it was covered by sand and abandoned. And so looking at that in my research as a student, I wanted to see if other sites were abandoned similarly or if people reacted in different ways. And it turns out they reacted in a couple of different ways. And so, yeah, while I was a student, I still worked for the University of Arkansas, or for the Archaeological Survey, as a graduate assistant. And so I got to be up at the coordinating office there, and I worked in the registrar's office, and I worked for other archaeologists up there who had projects going on, who needed some extra help doing things. And so that was a really great experience, but I'm really glad to be back over in Eastern Arkansas, which is where my real research interests lie. And so every day here, I do a variety of things. I used to hold open lab days, and we get the public in working on lab work that we had, but obviously we're not doing that now. So I've kind of switched over, and we are putting up on our YouTube channel now intro lab videos that I've been making actually since April and putting on our Facebook page. They're just little videos talking about lab work, what we do, why we do it, why we study different things. And all the things that I'm looking at are coming from a site called Richards Bridge, which we excavated in 2015 and 2016. And it's a Parkin phase site similar to the Parkin site, but smaller, not palisaded, it doesn't seem. So we want to kind of compare those 2 sites and see how people were living further away from the main ceremonial center of Parkin. So that's a little bit about me. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope to meet you in person someday soon. Bye.